Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing another what if scenario centered around Wings of Fire. Today's topic will be, what if Turtle never turned Anemone into an Animus? The idea was suggested by Blues N Hues and I love this concept. Once again, thank you to Blues N Hues for suggesting this one. I've read everyone's ideas and I've been putting some really good ones into a list of videos I'll make. If you have suggestions, let me know down below. You'll get full credit if I use them. Keep in mind that this video has major spoilers for Talons of Power. I try to refrain from doing spoilers in video titles, but this time I had to. If you don't want to be spoiled, please click off. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. In Talons of Power, it is revealed that Turtle enchanted Anemone to become an Animus dragon because he didn't want the attention on himself. However, what would happen if Turtle ultimately decided to not give Anemone that kind of power? What if Turtle never made Anemone an Animus dragon? How would the story play out from here? Turtle had been dreading the Talons of Power ceremony for a long time and feared that he would get unwanted attention about his secret Animus abilities. If his mother knew, she would force him to use that power, and he didn't want to become the Sea-Wing Prince that everybody suddenly noticed. Nobody cared much about his existence, and Turtle wanted it to stay that way. They could force him to do spells or even make him a higher-up royalty. No, his magic was his, and he didn't want that kind of worship-like attention. In fact, he didn't want any kind of recognition. Turtle was totally fine with standing in the shadows so that he wasn't pressured. Plus, casting small spells was totally enough for him. Just stuff to help out his day-to-day life without the constant pressure of behaving like royalty and being forced to use his magic. But here he was, standing right in front of a coconut and being told to try and cast a spell for it. Turtle had managed to weasel out of this for years, but this time he was stuck right here. Right in the exact place he didn't want to be. All those eyes. Nobody was looking at him, but rather the little Sea-Wing Princess, Anemone. Everybody was curious as to why Coral brought her here at such a young age, but she insisted on seeing if the Animus gene carried on. If anybody noticed that Turtle really could move the coconut, his whole life would be over. Everybody staring at him like that? No. He couldn't even think about this going that badly. He had to think of something, but what? How could he distract everybody in the hopes of escaping from yet another Talons of Power ceremony? Wait. Turtle realized that everybody was already staring at Anemone, so that gave him an idea. He could turn her into an Animus dragon in the hopes that he could sneak out in all the excitement, and the rest of the ceremony would be cancelled. But wait, what if Anemone didn't want this? He couldn't curse her with even more eyes on her all the time. She could grow up just like him, trying to hide her abilities or shield herself from the public eye. Except, that would be harder for her because she was the only heir to the throne that was alive. Oh, why did choices have to be so hard? Turtle would have done anything not to have chose this. But, in the end, he lowered his claws. I can't be selfish, he thought. Turning Anemone into an Animus dragon is basically like a curse. Who knows if she would want this kind of attention? I know I sure wouldn't. And so, with that in mind, Turtle decided he wasn't going to do the spell. He even began to regret even thinking about something so horrible. Practically cursing his own little sister just to not get attention? Sure, he hated being recognized, but even Turtle admitted that would be going too far. Turtle sighed, hanging his head in shame. He had to do this for his little sister. When the announcer told the dragonets to command the coconuts to move, Turtle's heart was pounding in his chest. Everyone was about to find out that he was the next Animus in the Sea-Wing royal family, and that his life would change forever. His wobbly arm moved forward, pointing towards the coconut. I command you to float towards the palm tree and hit it once, then return back to me. The second the coconut began to float, gasps elicited from the crowd. Turtle tried to make himself as small as possible against the sand, but to no avail. Everyone saw him raise the coconut and saw it swiftly return to his claws. Oh man, my life is over, Turtle thought to himself. Coral immediately shouted, asking whose coconut it was before turning right towards Turtle. My son is an Animus dragon, she yelled, embracing herself in his arms. Turtle weakly hugged her back, whimpering and grumbling to himself. Now, things were going to change forever. The day Tsunami finally came to the royal palace, Turtle was by Coral's side to greet her. It took a very long time for her to discover that Anemone existed, and found her little sister just drawing in the corner of her bedroom. She was so tiny and so quiet. It was almost unnatural. Instead of Coral always having Anemone by her side, she changed her up in the royal bedroom just to be safe. She wanted Turtle by her side constantly, and all that attention and spell casting had turned him weary and grumpy. When Tsunami tried to interact with him, Turtle usually avoided eye contact and made up lame excuses as to why he needed to leave. Coral never let him and chose to get a harness with the two of them. Tsunami found it quite odd and thought that the little princess should have been kept near her mother in order to keep at least one heir to the throne. Turtle never killed Whirlpool and never had many interactions with him at all. Coral still kept near the quiet little version of Anemone, but he remained alive during the duration of the series. Tsunami managed to get Turtle's help in order to escape, but that only made him hate her more than he did at first. This one was abusing his power jet again, and he was tired of it. By the time Jade Mountain Academy rolled around, Anemone still came to the school but went by unnoticed. Turtle was the one in the spotlight, and he desperately tried to escape any bit of attention the other students threw his way. Instead of becoming selfish and full of himself like with what happened to Anemone when she was an Animus, Turtle became more and more furious and constantly bottled up his emotions. He was tired of acting like royalty and tired of being Coral's little puppet to show the Sea-Wing power with. And when Darkstalker approached him, he asked Turtle if he would like to have never been an Animus to begin with. At first skeptical, Turtle accepted the offer. The spell only made it so that everybody would think he lost his Animus powers, yet some of it still remained. The attention soon began to fade away, but Turtle was still weak from everything that had happened throughout the miserable years of his life. He finally got to be alone, thanks to Darkstalker. Smiling for the first time in ages, Turtle decided to become Darkstalker's apprentice, just like Anemone had been in the original series. Only this time, Turtle didn't really have a hopeful ending like Anemone did. The death of Gil still plagued him. He knew that any spell that was cast would never erase the feeling of guilt he carried with him. With the attention being driven away, Turtle actually felt lonely. He didn't realize it, but being such an important part of the royal family took a toll on him. Craving attention from Darkstalker, Turtle chose to follow him. Only this time, Darkstalker ended up almost winning with the world's secret Animus, and Turtle ended up becoming an emotionless dragon who only sought Darkstalker's appreciation. And so when Turtle was faced with a shocked Sea-Wing royal court, he looked his terrified sister right in the eye. "I did this for you, Anemone, and look where it got me. I am alone because of the choice I made not to give you this power. Why didn't you thank me for what I have done for you?" But all he got back from Anemone was an expression of pure terror, and he slowly realized that he wasn't doing the right thing. Everyone was scared of him now, including his own family. He couldn't believe that him, who previously was a shy and awkward Sea-Wing prince, was about to kill his entire family just because he was told by some Nightwing to do so. Turtle, ultimately scared by himself and his power at this point, lowered his weapon and ran out of the courtroom. Nobody had ever seen him since that day and wondered if he was even still alive. Turtle was full of shame and never made himself known to the world again. Anyways, that's all I have for this what if. What do you guys think? After all the years of casting spells and getting so much attention, Turtle lost a part of himself. I like to imagine that he sort of became a spy for Darkstalker in order to wipe out the Sea-Wings, and probably didn't care about his family because of the way they treated him. Do you guys have any other what-if stories you'd like me to tell? Let me know down below. Once again, thanks to Blues N Hues for suggesting this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.